the size of the problem that you're solving is going to determine how much you make from it. So if you're solving a small size problem, you should expect to make small size money. I learned sales from having sales happen to me. Selling is the only thing that can bring you out of poverty. Poverty is one problem that everybody in Africa is facing. Ownership is the formula for wealth. If you look at every single rich person you know, they own something. A lot of times, people don't understand that they have strengths and weaknesses that is going to influence the level of result they get from a business. I'm very, very passionate about businesses that scale. Affiliate marketing is like a very, very big market, and that was how I started to create Stakecut to fix the affiliate marketing idea, because I believe that e-commerce is very, very huge.
Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneurs Connect show. As always, here, what we do is interview African entrepreneurs across board, different niches, industries, and sectors to learn about how they build their businesses, their successes, their failures, their lessons, everything in between. And today we have a very special guest in the house. The famous Mr. Caesar now has the face. How are you doing, Mr. Caesar? Welcome to the show.
Very, very okay. I'm doing fine. It's a pleasure being here.
First off, thank you for accepting my invitation. I mean, you were just telling me just now that you were turning down invitations for the longest time.
Yes. I've been forming faceless channel thing for a very long time, but now I want to put a face to the brand.
Face to the can appreciate the brand.
Yeah, sure.
Well, hello, welcome on the show. Do you have any expectations for the show today?
No. I've seen your previous episodes. I know that you come with fire, so
you're the one that's bringing the fire today.
I expect all the fire.
I hope to enjoy it out.
I expect all the fire you bring there.
Very great. So let's start the typical way of you just giving us like a brief overview of what was your story like growing up.
Okay.
All of that.
Yes. So I recently put out a video on my timeline where I told practically most of my story in 2 minutes. So I'm going to do that here now. I grew up in a neighborhood where most of my friends belong to a gang, right? So by the time I got into the university already, I had some of my friends who got caught up in gang wars, and they died. Some of them got shot. I went to University of Nigeria, Nsukka, did microbiology. Funny thing about the microbiology thing, I had this brother that told me that microbiology was on the Faculty of Medicine. So I did the entire thing, got into microbiology, and then that was it. When I went to pay for my acceptance fee at the bank, I give me a form to fill. I put in Faculty of Medicine. And I had a very long back and forth with the bank teller, who told me that this is not under medicine. And that was why I ended up in a course that I had no passion for. I hated, disliked microbiology, whole lot, waited for 4 years, came out, and then the Nigerian problem, there was no job, right? And so I got a job as a school teacher. I was earning around 15,000 naira back then
Per month?
Per month. I can't remember. The funny thing is I don't know how to remember years. I have this problem with years. All right, so but then got a job as a school teacher, and then started from there. One day I was scrolling through the internet. I got an email from Akinalabi. Right? So if internet marketing is vampire world, Akinalabi told me. So I got an email from him, and then he explained what internet marketing is. I broke it down. For the first person I actually saw was teaching internet marketing and did not ask for money up front, right? So that was the first incidence of the first time I actually witnessed the power of a 7-day series before you make a pitch. So it was a 7-day email series talking about internet marketing, and then the final day sent us a sales letter, and that was what changed my life, right? But then it didn't actually change my life at once. I always hope I'm not talking too much.
No. That's why we're here.
That's why. All right. So what actually got into the internet marketing big time? I'm tracing my journals after I had an idea. I watched there's this movie I watched, Gossip Girl. It was a series. The movie was about this news platform in a university, in college, that sent out news about individual students. And that was when Linda Ikeji was at the pinnacle of her reign, you know. So everybody wanted to become a blogger. Everyone wanted to become a blogger, and me, I shall like to go the opposite direction. So I said, rather than create a blog, why don't I create something like that app? And I went out to build an app. I didn't know how to code, and I wanted to build the app real quick. And I started asking for development fee. Right. Then the first person I met told me it was 2 million naira to build something like that, you know, a prototype. And at that point, this is somebody who used to earn 10,000 naira a month. The money is not even enough for transportation, going and coming. And you get, so I started to look for ways to raise the money. The first idea that came to my mind, which is why I don't like raising, I just don't like raising funds. Up to this point, I have this worry about it. So the first thing that came to my mind was to go and start to pitch my idea to people. First person I pitched the idea to was Linda Ikeji. You know, I didn't meet her. I met her PA. I borrowed money to go to Lagos. I was living in Enugu back then. I came to Lagos from Enugu, but yes, home. That's my state. So yeah. So we'll talk about where you're from. So I'd love to know. So I came to Lagos, and the PA looked at me one look and said, told me that Linda Ikeji is not around. Like, she went to Paris then and gave me 1,000 naira, because I'm sure she looked at me. He looked at me. I was like, this is where we need transport shop. So you know, I gladly took the money because it was terrible, you know. And then that didn't work out. I came back. There was this popular Reverend Father in Enugu back then. I went to see him, so his bodyguards pushed me down. It was when I was sitting down on the floor. I told myself, Shibi, there was this training you bought that showed how to make money online. Why don't you go and do something about it? You know, I made a decision on the floor. I also told myself I was never ever going to depend on anybody again. That was going to be the last time, right? And I went out, locked myself up in a room. So in my house, we have a small room we call the library. You know, that's where we read a lot in my house. So that's where we have like all of our books. It's just like a very small room with 4 shelves, and I went in there, I locked myself up. I wrote my first ebook in, I think it was less than a month. Wrote my first ebook, The Bango. What was it about? It's a book I don't like to talk about, but it's out there in the internet, right? So it was really, really big because we're running ad like back to back on Linda Ikeji. It was big. If anybody born in Nigeria, anybody who was active in Nigeria on the internet in 2016 rather. 2016. 2016, if they would know about that book. It was literally, we pushed it really, really hard, and from there, that was where my journey started.
How did you sell the book?
Okay, so the book, something happened, right? I remember the day, I think it was my 4th ad on Linda Ikeji. At that point, my dad was already seeing the changes, you know, when you start touching money that's more than what you used to touch before. Yeah, my father used to see the change. So he was really wondering what it was I was selling on the internet. And I remember this particular ad, I think he did more than 800,000 naira in a single day. Right, Linda Ikeji was hot that time because that was when, that was before Instablock Nigeria, that was before Tunde Not. So everybody got their news from Linda Ikeji. So whenever you put an ad there, it just worked. So what I did, the way I was selling it was I would write an article, a free article that gave a lot of value. And then I will now say, at the end of the article, I will say, to get more, go to my website. And then you walk to my website has more than 20 articles. Like, I give a lot of things for free. So when you walk into my website had pre-sale content disguised as free content. Yeah. So by the time you're done with my 20 articles, you are definitely going to want that book. So it was always crazy. It was always crazy. I used to say that we started WhatsApp marketing before a lot of people started doing WhatsApp marketing, and that's why it's like WhatsApp marketing today, because I didn't have a life. I was always on WhatsApp. I was chatting. I was making so much money, but there was no time to spend it back then. So that's it. That's how I started.
Beautiful. So would you say that you're a born entrepreneur, or would you say that the life circumstances made you embrace entrepreneurship?
What I wanted to be was a medical doctor. I think I wanted to be a medical. Like, I wanted to write first. Like I said, I wrote my first novel when I was in JSS1. So that was way before phone came. So for me to pass time, I would have to read books, and then I started reading for a long time. Then I moved over to writing, and I wanted to become a writer. And then from there on, I wanted to become president, and then I wanted to be a lot of things. And there was a time I even I applied to be a reverend father. And my girlfriend back there was begging me, please. And I was like, come on, let's do God's work. Thank God that didn't happen. Thank God that didn't happen. Thank God it didn't happen. So I now finally decided I was going to be a medical doctor. That was why I did microbiology, thinking it was on the faculty of medicine. Right? And when life now hits me, was when, because I'm telling all of this story so you see how it connects. So one day I saved up money. I used to save my lunch money to buy books. That's how crazy I was back then. I'm a weird person, So I saved up money, gave it to my mother to buy me novels. She went out, came back with a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I was so angry because it was not a novel. I was so very angry. So one day I was just bored, so I had to read the book. I had to read it. So I picked it up, I looked at it, and then that book single-handedly made me interested in entrepreneurship, in business. And now started looking for how to apply it. So the first thing I did was to have some back and forth argument with my friends, to them, which was what the book said, that it's possible to make money without startup capital. And my friends laughed at me. They told me I was a dreamer. They told me that they called me perspire to aspire. Just to prove the point, I started looking for ways to make sure that I proved to them that it was possible, because I really believed what the book said. And I remember it was the first time that VC, UNVC, finally agreed to pursue me in the Nsukka campus for every single person. So it used to be Nsukka and in the Nsukka campuses, right? So when I noticed that a lot of people would be coming to the Nsukka campus, I went to all of my friends, got their rooms, then went to Ireland, started posting about free accommodation, right? And if you come to get accommodation, I think it was around 5,000 I was charging back then. And then we got people who signed up, came in, and I made money without startup capital, right? So this was the Airbnb model even before I knew what Airbnb was, right? And it worked. A lot of my friends actually saw it work, and that was the beginning of the journey to entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Great. So what can we deduce from this? Would you say it was inborn, or would you say
it wasn't apparently it wasn't inborn, since I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
And then I read the book, so it wasn't inborn. Right? I don't think. I think most of the time, entrepreneurship is not really for me. I don't know. There's a lot of people. It's inborn for a lot of people. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, for many people, it's inborn. For others, is learned.
Yeah.
You cannot really learn the difference most times from who learned it, and
yes, you can.
As long as you put your mind to something, you definitely excel at it. So, are you thinking back to your earliest memory of starting your first business? How was it like?
Okay, so the first business I ever did was this one I just described, the Airbnb model.
Okay.
So Airbnb model happened when I was in second year. All right, that was what got me interested. The book got me interested in entrepreneurship. I practiced Airbnb model in school. And very funny story. I had to stop this business. So we're talking about the experience I had in my first business. So I had to stop this business. I think it was my first experience with regulation, because I had to stop this business after I got a lot of people in one particular lodge in school back then. So the lodge was, I think it was 13 13 rooms in the lodge. At that point, I had gotten a little bit popular for putting people in rooms.
Yeah.
So I filled up the entire lodge, and it was for PG students.
Yeah.
So it happens whenever we go on vacation in UNN. So I put them in the room, and by the time I think we went back home, I stayed for a week. And one day, the landlord of the compound, called me and said that he was going to pick me up with the police. What happened was that those people went out and brought their family and friends. So they are friends that were in the same program as them. Which the entire place was messed up. It looks like very, very, it was really, really messed up, and made me stop. Right, it made me stop because I began to see that ideas looked nice, in your head. When in business, a lot of things happen that you don't envision, that you don't see.
Yeah.
Nothing ever works out well. And because I was new to the entire thing, I stopped with the first obstacle. I think we were talking before we came on here, and I told you that the obstacle is the way. So it's the mindset that entrepreneurship has given me now. It has changed my mind to see obstacle as the way. So if anything is in my way, it becomes a way.
Yeah, so what's the attitude to obstacles now? Because obviously you've moved on from that business, but I would not say that you have stopped facing obstacles in other ventures. So when you encounter obstacles like in your new other ventures now, what's your mindset towards that?
Okay, so I see building a business as the same way anybody would see playing video game, right? So what do you do when you encounter an obstacle in a video game? And just try and figure out how to beat the boss, right? That's just what it is. So the obstacle can be a stepping ground, right? So I've mentioned Airbnb a lot, because I'm very fascinated with big businesses. Airbnb, I think it was Uber. Uber started because the founders, after passing one night, came out and couldn't find taxi. Right, and then wished that there was a way to get people tax. I'm not really sure about the story. I'm probably mixing up stories here, but I think this was what happened. And then they called they wished that there was a way to get drivers to come to them rather than stand in a particular place and wait. So standing in a particular place and waiting was the obstacle. And then the moment they began to see the obstacle as the way, Uber was born, right? And if you can actually begin to see obstacle as a way to step up, you're going to unlock a whole lot of amazing stuff.
Beautiful. So now you've been in business for like a long time. Now you've done a whole lot of different things. What's the most common mistake over time that you have seen business owners make?
Okay, the common mistake that I've seen business owners make is to underestimate time. So every single thing is going to be acted upon by time. Every single thing is going to work given enough time and effort. So most of the time, people stop too early. All right, people stop too early, and that's one mistake I see a lot of people make. If you don't stop, you're going to win. That's what I believe. If you don't stop, you're definitely going to win.
Beautiful. At what point in your journey, now I read your book you released, was it 3 years ago now, about lessons from a millionaire friend. At what point in your journey did you meet millionaire friends?
Okay, so the meeting my millionaire friend has been, I can't really say at what point it was, but I think it was after my NYSC. All right, it was after my NYSC. I'd already been running my ebook business. All right, so went for one event, network, and started talking.
Beautiful. So between when you met him and now, what has life been like for you?
Okay, so I had made one transition. And that transition is to start to think in terms of building big businesses. I'm very, very passionate about businesses that scale. So So the idea for me has always been, how do we build things that scale, right? Because it's possible. It's possible. The problem is that we, most of the time when we get started, we think from a place of survival. We want to eat, we want to feed. And because we want to feed, we don't have the mindset and the tenacity to build things that last, or things that become big. And things that become big take time. Take an average of 5 years before you could probably become really profitable. Right? So that's one major switch that had happened after meeting Langley National.
Beautiful. Do you think learning how to sell is important?
Yes, it is important because I was speaking to my co-founder at Stakecut the other day, and I was just bouncing off idea, and I told him that at Stakecut, our focus should be on solving poverty, right? Because poverty is one problem that everybody in Africa is facing. Most of the time, people think that they come from rich homes, but or maybe people think they come from middle class home. But most of the time, when anybody says they come from middle class home in Nigeria, I just assume they come from a poor home. When you're put on a global scale, when we know what middle class is, right? So selling is the only thing that can bring you out of poverty. It's the only thing that brought me out of. If I had not learned how to sell, I would have probably been maybe a school principal. I feel like I'm doing well. No disrespect to school principals. My dad was a principal, right? And I achieved so much with it. So,
how did you learn sales though?
Okay, I learned sales from having sales happen to me. Like every single time I go through a good funnel, I just basically learn.
Like, why did I buy?
Why did I buy? Why do I want to buy this thing? Which was what helped me design my first funnel. After studying a particular American seller, and also exactly what to do with my own funnel. So that's actually one way I learned. And I also learned a lot from Dan Kennedy. So I learned from Dan Kennedy, I learned from Frank Ken. Those are the guys that I learned from.
Beautiful. What does the word scale mean to you?
To me, scale means businesses that solve problems, recurring problems that the entire continent have. So something I can take from Nigeria to Ghana to Zimbabwe to Kenya, and it will still plug in, right? And then these problems need to be problems that reoccur. So what we're doing at Stakecut now is I tell people we're solving poverty. And we're solving it at scale. Because we are now in over 7 African countries. And we have people use Stakecut from these countries every single day to put money in their pockets. And the truth is, you're definitely going to always need to have money in your pockets. These are the things that will always stand the test of time, and people are going to always buy because people are getting born every day. People are becoming 18 every day, and when they hit 18, they need most of the things that we need on the platform, which means it's a recurring problem. So skill for me is solving a recurring problem that can plug into any country in Africa, because my focus is Africa.
Beautiful. So how can entrepreneurs, especially African entrepreneurs, build businesses at scale?
Okay. So building businesses at scale, most of the time, I'm going to be very honest, you start building a business and you don't actually see it as something that would scale in the real world. It just probably started as maybe a small solution, and then all of a sudden it becomes something bigger than you. You start to see possibilities. But the way to build it is to see there are basic problems that are uniform to humans. I love listening to Jeff Bezos a lot, and he said there was this interview where he said that he looks at problems that would always be there. Right. So if you want to build a business that would scale, you need to look at problems that would always be there. All right. So this is the reason why Uber is such a big business, because you would always want to move around. Airbnb is a big business today because you would always want to travel. People will travel, people need places to stay. Housing is a very big thing. All right, so look at the basic things. There are businesses now, which I wouldn't call their name, that are building, that are solving the issue of food delivery. People always want to eat. No. Right, so another problem I've seen that another problem that I've not seen people solve at scale here in Africa is the logistic problem for e-commerce. I feel it's a very big business. Of course, it's going to be hard to solve, but it's a very, very big business that if somebody comes out and solve it, they will solve something that would something at scale. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's it.
So. Where did this Stakecut journey start?
Okay, so the Stakecut journey started after I worked with Precious Energy. Yeah. You know, I respect him a lot. Very good guy. I worked with him, and he organized the first affiliate marketing campaign in Nigeria. That was huge. Mm. And I saw the numbers from the back, and I was a little bit surprised on how much, how successful it was, right? Then I created a course called Deeps. Now, when I created Deeps, I got somebody to build me an affiliate platform, okay? And for the product, so people would buy and then promote and get back. The idea was buy, promote, get back the money you bought from the course. I started making a lot of wave, and then also I now saw what Motor Show was doing with Expertly at that same time. Mm-hmm. I also met him, told him I wanted to start an affiliate platform, and gave me advice and told me what to do to start and all of that. Had the conversation at his events, and but then I stopped the affiliates offer for my course because people were now beginning to push it as Ponzi. One day I was on Twitter, somebody said that I have something where if they buy it, they sign up, we'll give them 14,000 because that was the commission back then. Came back and I just scripted the entire thing off. Mm-hmm. Then after some years, I had a conversation with my current co-founder now over chicken and chips at a rooftop in Lagos, and they decided to do something that would fix the mentality of, the mentality people have about affiliate marketing and start to make them see that it's not Ponzi, it's something that's a real business, right? So we have platforms like JVZoo, ClickBank. Mm-hmm. These are reputable platforms abroad that are selling real life-changing things, and I wanted to, because right now here in Nigeria, people see affiliate marketing as buy a money-making course, you don't make money from it, you're gonna start promoting it. But affiliate marketing is much more bigger than that, right? There are people who can push software. You can push, I did a couple of launches on JVZoo, so to software, right? So it's affiliate marketing is like a very, very, very big market, and that was how I started to create Stakecut to fix the affiliate marketing idea, because I believe that e-commerce is very, very huge, and we can push e-commerce, digital, physical through affiliate marketing.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, a very big platform now, over 200,000 users in 7 African countries. Where did you get the money to start Stakecut from?
Okay, so Stakecut, the funny thing is Stakecut is a free platform, but I think people don't realize how much we spend to keep Stakecut online. Mm. Right now, off the top of my head, we spend 2 million naira every month to have Stakecut running every month, right? Because we have a small team now, infrastructure costs and all of that. And the way I started running the platform after we raised money. Personally, I raised money from sale of my digital products. And if people that follow me online understand that I have a Formula W, is equals to ESI. So it means wealth is equals to earning, saving, investing. What it means is you need to earn, you save aggressively so you can have money to invest. So what I did was I had a period where I sold aggressively. So I was doing the E and I was saving almost everything. So I was having the S. And then the I was what I started, and I lost thousands of dollars, trying to break into the international market. And after I lost that money, I realized, okay, let me just try my hands at the local market. So I met my co-founder now. We went into an agreement. I did a down payment for us to hire our first dev. We put together, plus Joshua did a whole lot of work also on the platform. So from sale of digital products was actually how I saved enough money to go. Forgive me, I like to put context to my stories. So
that's literally the purpose of
so that people will understand the journey. So digital products, right? So I think that a lot of people, for example, I was talking to a group of affiliate marketers who made a lot of money at some point and transitioning into another area of making money online. And I was telling them that what you're doing should not stop. Because most of the time we look at money from a place of income generation. It's about building wealth. So what does wealth mean? Wealth means buying cash flow. Cash flow that can work whether or not you're working. And an example of there are two ways you can build wealth: is either through code or media. And which is amazing what you're doing, because you're building wealth through media, right? On Stakecut, people are building wealth through media also, because you have courses that pay you. People set up affiliate funnel, lead funnels that pay them. These are wealth vehicles, and they work, right? And that is actually where you can raise a lot of money for most of the things that you want to do. Okay, so if it's working, there's no need for you to stop, right? So the way to raise money is, through what we do here, selling on the internet.
Beautiful. There's somebody trying to go into business right now watching this. What are the top 3 tips you can give them?
Okay, if number one is the size of the problem that you're solving is going to determine how much you make from it. So if you're solving a small size problem, you should expect to make small size money. So how do you know the size of the problem, or how do you know if the problem you're solving is big enough? The way to know is to look at the top guys in that market. So if you look at, take for example here in Lagos, that's the biggest market here in Lagos. You look at, you now follow the money and see that most of the money happen around Apapa, around the wharf, around the seaport. This is where a lot of people make most of the money from. So you follow the money basically. So when you see that the top guy in a particular industry is making XYZ amount of money, gives you a view, gives you an estimate of the market size, right? So that's exactly what you need to focus on. Number one, you need to be solving the right problems. Secondly, you need to also look at you as a person. Now, a lot of times people don't understand that they have strengths and weaknesses that is going to influence the amount of result they get, the level of result they get from a business. Personally, I'm not an extrovert, right? So businesses I'm going to pick are going to be businesses that make room for me to do my thing, right? And these are online businesses, okay? So I wouldn't know how to smile my way into closing a real estate deal, okay? But then I can close on the webinar, I can close on the internet. However, if you must absolutely do the business that requires a strength that you don't have, then you need to get a partner that has that can complement you, right? So, for example, if I want to get into digital real estate, then I'm into real estate. I'm going to get somebody who is very good at selling, and then work with that person.
So,
Selling in person, rather.
To be successful in business, you have to at least be somewhat good at negotiation. Right. What's one negotiation tip you could give to upcoming entrepreneurs?
One negotiation tip I would give is don't ever you need to look at the right frame. So what's the right frame? For example, there are a plumber came to fix something in my house recently, and I had to get someone else to negotiate the fee because the likelihood that the plumber is going to cheat me is very, very high. All right. So why is that? It's because you're going to look at the offer on the table from your own frame. For example, a lot of people have signed a lot of deals that is not in their favor because they looked at the deal from their frame, and their frame is a very limited frame. There is an abundance on earth, and based on your frame is going to determine what you ask for. So, for example, I read the news the other day where I saw that a billionaire, an Indian billionaire, invited not Rema, I think it's what's the name of this guy? Justin Bieber, and paid $10 million, right? I'm sure that Justin Bieber wouldn't stand up to go and do that gig for $1 million. But take that same frame, give it to somebody who has not touched that amount of money, and they would consider it. So this frame thing messes up a lot of deals across board. So it could be 50,000 naira deals. It could be 100,000 naira deals. It could be 1 million naira deals, right? So for me, first time I wrote copy and I charged for it, I charged 20,000 naira, and I did a whole lot of work for that person. And that was because I saw it from the frame of what I'm doing is not as important enough for me to charge a lot of money for it. Right now, I don't charge anything less than 500K before we start to talk, right? And it's because my frame has increased. I've started to see that what I'm doing is going to make you money. And it's going to make you money. Why is it that I'm not going to charge you money? Some of us, let's not bring money back to you. So that frame, you need to constantly work on your frame and start to see how what you do is important. And when you see how what you do is important to help you to make better decisions, right? So you will not make negotiations from a place of anxiety, which messes up the negotiation process. You will do negotiations from a place of fear, which messes it up. All right. So how do you now get to that point where you're comfortable? Of course, it's from experience. Most of the time, it's just not, you can't fake it. And it's from experience. So you need to actually put yourself out, get experience in the markets that you want to operate in, so that when opportunities come, you're going to be able to get good deals for yourself.
What's the favorite lesson you learned from your millionaire friend?
Okay, so the favorite lesson would be, let me see, because I have a lot of lessons, right? But the favorite one is the formula for wealth, ownership. Okay, ownership is the formula for wealth. If you look at every single rich person, they own something. When I say own something, they are not reselling things. They actually own these things. So, for example, I see a lot of people on the internet. They just sell and sell and sell and sell, and they don't own things. So, for us that are coming from poor homes, the things that we can own are something I call digital real estate. a website can make as much as a house
Yeah.
in Lekki Phase 1. So let's assume that you have a house in Lekki Phase 1 that makes, let's say, a duplex that makes 5 million. You charge 5 million a year for it, so let's say even 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible to build a website on the internet that makes as much, or a YouTube channel that makes as much as 7 million.
Yeah.
Which means that you also have as much leverage and as much ownership as somebody who owns land. So ownership is the path to wealth, and that's the most favorite. The moment I learned that lesson from my millionaire friend, I started to look for ways to ownership in my life. Yeah.
Beautiful. What's one advice you give to maybe entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs, and business owners that you feel like they don't just seem to get it?
Okay, so one thing is the concept of digital real estate. I talk about digital real estate a lot, and I feel people don't get how important it is to build one digital real estate over time. I said this a while ago. I said that every single thing is going to be acted upon by time.
Yeah.
So cancer cells get worse over time. Trees grow over time.
Yeah.
We age over time, right? So every single thing is going to be acted upon by time. Every single thing, even the universe is going to at one time, at a point, is going to implode on itself. So considering this, we also need to understand another factor called compound effect. So every single thing also compounds over time. And if you want to succeed as a business person, it's not to chase money. Money is just a byproduct. The focus should be on compounding one digital real estate over time. When I say this and people don't understand, it's why, because they come, and it's not their fault, because we're coming from poverty. When you're coming from poverty, you just want to chop, you want to eat, right? You want to survive. And when you want to survive, your focus becomes money rather than compound effect. And this is something I wish I started earlier. I wish I started one thing in my 20s. Yeah. By now, I would have been big. Just look at every single person that did it, right? Paystack. Paystack guys did an exit, $200 million US. The other guy went and bought a football club. Why? Because they built one thing over time. And they started building Paystack at a point where buying things on the internet with card used to freak people out, right? Also, look at piggy vest. I remember the first time I saw the piggy vest idea. I looked at it like, nobody's going to put their money in our app, right? I look at them now.
They're like jokes on you.
The jokes on me now, right? Look at them now. They're so very, very big, right? Why? Because every single thing is going to work. Give it enough time. Give it enough effort. I see this says a lot, right? And everything just works, right? It just works. It just compounds. So. Anybody listening to me now, just stop chasing money, stop doing things here and there, and just build one thing over time.
The most successful people you've studied, read, and all of that over time, what's all common traits they have?
Okay, one common trait they have is they do one thing over time. All of them, they do one thing over time. I mean, look at Jeff Bezos. These are the ones that just going to all that. I love Jeff Bezos a lot. So look at Jeff Bezos. Look at all of them. Every single one of them. They do one thing over time. Then they diversify later. I see it's also on the level that we are in the internet marketing industry, where you see somebody trying to jump from one offer to another offer to create a different offer, and at the end of, let's say, 7 years, 10 years, they have nothing to show for it. And they are wondering, why is it that some other person is succeeding and I'm not? And the reason is because you're not working with compound effect, which is the law of success. If you throw up a stone is going to fall down to earth. If you throw up, if you put your hand in fire, it's going to burn you. Right? These are laws. when it comes to success too has a series of laws. And part of those laws is that compound effect is the reason why people succeed. That's why you see Zoom. Zoom was not doing successfully. They were just there. And then all of a sudden, from nowhere, during COVID, Zoom just blew up. Like times what it was. There's this AI chip company also that is blowing up right now. They've been in the market for 30 years. 30 years, and they recently got valued. I think it's NVIDIA. I can't pronounce the name, but I know how to spell it. So they became more valuable than Amazon. They've been there for 30 years. So that's just every single person who is winning allows compound effect to work for them, and they stay in one thing over time. So when you stay in one thing over time, you're adjusting, making changes, fixing things, you get successful.
Awesome. You've built a brand on social media, Facebook and Twitter over time. Right. What advice do you have for somebody trying to build their brand right now on social media?
Okay, so building a brand should not be the focus. The focus should be on helping people. If you help people, the brand becomes the byproduct. Most of the time, the reason why we don't get what we want is because we focus on the wrong things. We focus on byproducts rather than focusing on what actually makes the Pareto's principle, the 20% that causes the 80% to happen. So for building a brand, the 20% is help. How helpful you are. The moment you actually help people, you attract a lot of people. So Franken says, demonstrate you can help by actually helping. So that's actually how you build that personal brand on social media and all of that. You just need to help. You just need to help people. You need to give out content. You need to help people solve their problems. What are the questions people are asking you? Answer it for them. And then as you do this, people will come to you.
Beautiful. What is the brokest you have ever been? How much do you have done?
I'm always broke. Really, because I think money is paper. I think money is paper, and what matters is what you do with it. So the job of money is to buy cash flow, and I'm considering the length of where I want to get to. I'm just starting personally. That's what I think. And in this period, there's no way you have money lying around. Money should not lie around. For example, I was having this conversation with a friend, and he wanted to buy a house, and I was like, "This house you want to buy now, what is it for?" Right? He already has one already. He wanted to buy another one. I was like, "This house you want to buy? I don't really buy a house before. What do you want to use this one house by when the same money can get into your business?" We had conversations about it, but I think that the most important thing you do when you're young is to buy cash flow, because it's a game of cash flow. Take, for example, you see somebody who is a young boy who is riding the newest model of the newest car. You're wondering, how does what take me this kind of money, right? How did he make money to buy that car? But you forget that this person probably started out with, let's say, a Camry. They saved money, sold the Camry, put it on top of the one he has saved, and probably buys a RAV4. He will save money, sell the RAV4, put it on the money, and buy a newer model. So by the time you see him, he has bought the newest model, and that was how he raised the money, because of that series of steps. It's the same thing that happens when you play the wealth game, right? I started from an ebook. Then from there, we built our marketing agency. Then from there, we saved money, we built our first app that we launched in the international market. We saved money from there, we built Stakecut, right? And who knows what I'm going to do next. So when you're actually pouring money in like that, you're going to be broke most of the time, and it's good broke. There's good broke and there's bad broke, right? So when it comes to good broke, I'm always good broke all the time because I want to pour money into something bigger, all right? And right now, even at Stakecut, I pay myself a salary. I pay myself a salary. I have a portion of my money for charity. I have the other ones for basically my basic needs and all of that. So that's it. That's it.
So what does the road look like for you in the next maybe a few years for you for Stakecut?
Okay, so in the next 10 years, Stakecut is going to control a large chunk of e-commerce in Africa, right? So we're not an affiliate platform, but then I can't see the plans that we have here, but that's what the journey is going.
There's something pushing lately. So can you talk about it for a bit? Stakecut Pay.
Okay, yes, Stakecut Pay is a card system. So Stakecut Pay is a very, very interesting feature. Now, the reason is because it can detect the location of an individual and then show them a payment gateway for their area. So if you are in South Africa, if you're in, let's say, Ghana, it shows you a payout option in CDs.
Yeah.
And we have something called the Stakecut Pixel.
Yeah.
So the Stakecut Pixel is a line of code you can put on a site to activate the Stakecut Pay card system. So let's assume you're selling bags anywhere. Yes, maybe selling a bag in Nigeria, you want to scale to Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
You can just put the Stakecut Pixel on your website and somebody in Ghana will be able to see a payment option for them. All right. And you can also, using the Stakecut Pixel, activate an affiliate system for your product.
Yeah.
Which means that your followers, your friends, your well-wishers, instead of saying, come and support me, just send them your website. And once they would want you, the reason why people would want to help you is if they see a selfish reason for it. So rather than ask people to support you, the Stakecut Pixel allows you to put in a selfish reason for it. So when they recommend somebody to your business, they get a cut. And because they have a cut, they will carry your business on their head.
Yeah.
So that's what the Stakecut Pay does, activating a way to scale your business to the global scene.
Yeah, so let's say somebody wants to take payments from maybe like the US or something, or you need to do this to the Stakecut Pixel.
A single pixel on your website, and then send your website to that person, and you're able to collect your money. Here in Nigeria, you get paid in your local currency in Ghana, wherever in Africa.
That makes a lot of sense. So yes, I'd like to end this podcast.
Okay.
Started doing it lately because I figured that when people watch interviews like this and all that, like, oh wow, I want to be like Mr. Caesar, Joseph Don. They have or they have it all figured out. And that's far from the truth.
Yes.
So this is like an attempt to exclude your human element. So why are you trying to figure out right now?
Okay. Okay, so you raise a very serious point. The truth is, I'm trying to figure out my entire life just as much as anybody else. I make a lot of mistakes, a whole lot of mistakes. Right now I'm trying to figure out exactly how to, take the Stakecut gospel every single way around Africa. I want the Stakecut gospel to be recognized on the streets of Nigeria. And it's a very big problem for me now because it's something we are still trying to figure out, and I know we're going to figure it out because every single thing is going to work given enough time and effort.
Yeah, you made this code like 4 times.
Yes, I believe in it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm trying to figure out. And the truth is, I think I need to add this for everybody who is out there listening to the sound of my voice. Nobody has the perfect life. Everybody is just winging it. Everybody is just trying to figure things out. Even I like to mention his name again, Jeff Bezos too. He's trying to figure out space travel and is getting whooped by Elon Musk. All right. So Elon Musk is trying to figure out Twitter and free speech and all of that. So everybody has problems. Everybody is going through one learning phase or the other. But the truth is, life is like a video game. The obstacles are the levels.
Yeah.
So the moment you crack one level, you open up another level and another level and another level and another level. But the moment you see the obstacle as the way instead of just obstacle, you're going to level up. That's what
This has been like when you're applying shit, it's for everybody listens to this. Oh my god, that's listening to the sound of my voice right now.
yeah, it's been awesome being here. Thank you very much for
Thank you for calling. If people want to connect with you or follow you, where should they search?
Just social Twitter, Mr. Caesar _ Instagram, Mr. Caesar _ I think on TikTok too. My TikTok is still working on that. So also YouTube. My stuff is going to be out on YouTube soon. So you're going to get the information from my Twitter. So at Mr. Caesar _ Most of the time, you need people's journey to know exactly what to do in yours. If you want to learn from other people's journey, I think that you should subscribe to this channel and follow Joseph Don.
Oh yeah, subscribe.
Please subscribe button.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care of yourself and see you later. Cheers. Bye-bye.